My training at the dog war school. Toward the end of winter, it happened that my mistress had not had a letter for several weeks, so she was quite sad. Then, one day, while the family was at dinner, an airplane flew over our heads. Looking up into the sky, I saw a white paper fluttering slowly downward. I watched to see where it fell, and dashed after it with a bark of joy, for I thought that it was a letter from my master. Looking off in the distance, I saw other papers fluttering down from the airplane, which I thought were more letters from other soldiers. With the paper in my mouth, I rushed into the house to my mistress and proudly laid it at her feet, wagging my tail very hard in great joy. She took the paper in her hand, and this is what she read. Dogs are needed for the army. If you have a good dog, send him to a dog war school, where he will be trained to serve his country. My mistress looked at Francois, and Francois looked at her. Then, throwing his arms around my neck and bursting into tears, Francois said, "Good old Jacques, that means you." And it did. The next day I sorrowfully followed Francois to town, where I was enrolled as a dog of war to work for France. The following day I was sent to a dog camp, where I found many dogs of different kinds being trained for work. There were quick little terriers, who were being trained as rat hunters for the trenches. There were strong Airedales, who were being taught to stand guard like real sentinels. There were swift-footed collies, who were learning how to carry messages, and the shepherd dogs like myself were being taught to do Red Cross work, to hunt for the wounded and dying on the battlefield, and to carry them food and drink and medicines in the little saddles which were strapped on our backs. At first, the constant boom of guns around our camp made us very nervous, but we soon learned not to mind the noise. Of course, we didn't like the gas masks at all, as no dog likes to have his mouth covered. But about the hardest thing we had to learn was to keep from barking. You see, a barking dog is dangerous in war, for he might make known the position of his own soldiers by even a very little bark. Barking is the joy of life for a dog, and to learn how to work silently was very, very hard. The dogs that couldn't learn to do this were sent back to their homes. I could have gone back to our little cottage if I had barked as I worked. But I knew Francois would be ashamed of me, and more than that, I should be ashamed of myself when our work became so easy that it was just like play. Our training was over, and we were sent to the front to take our part in the Great War.